So I'm constantly looking through the comments that you guys leave on the channel for various videos, and I'm coming across quite a few comments that seem to be about the same kind of topic and really something I want to talk to you guys about in general as sellers. So without any further ado, let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin Ain't Easy, and today I want to talk to you guys about a lot of different comments that I'm getting in my videos, and I'm certainly happy for them. I'm glad you're putting them in the videos, but I'm coming across a lot of the same, and I wanted to sort of address some of these things that I'm reading maybe in mass, because these are three different things that I see that if you're doing, it could be a mistake as a seller. You know, it's one of those things where you have to consider this. Before I go into what these things are, you really have to consider this. No matter how we feel about eBay's policy, it's eBay's policy. And there isn't a whole lot we can do about eBay's policy. Now, certainly you can go on, maybe create your own Shopify, see if that works for you. Create your own traffic, and if you're able to do that without it costing too much, then certainly you can utilize any rules you want to implement into your business model, and nobody's going to stop you. Now, certainly there's the chargebacks that customers have if they don't like how you're handling whatever you're handling. But, you know, to me, I don't always agree with how eBay sets their policies. There's a lot of times, you guys have seen these videos, and I don't always agree. But one thing I've realized, and many of you out there have realized, is that this is eBay's sandbox. They've allowed us to play in their sandbox with their shovels and their buckets and their sand. And it is up to you to play nice in their play box or their sandbox. Otherwise, they're going to ask you to leave, and or you can leave. And that's just the reality of it. I hate to be harsh like that, but that's how it is. That's the truth. And so it's us sellers that have to make their policies work with our business model. And a lot of times we have to maybe mold our business model to work with eBay's policies. Now, one thing that I get every so often is a seller who will maybe leave a message asking, and these are newer sellers, so for those of you who are selling for the first time on eBay, this is a message for you, and it's happened to me before. But if you get contacted by a potential buyer who may be trying to negotiate with you initially through the eBay messaging system, but asks you to take the conversation offline, maybe through email, or sometimes they'll put a little attachment in the message, and it's usually like a handwritten phone number or email address or something like that, don't fall for it. Don't communicate off of the eBay platform, because there are ramifications for it, and it can cause you problems as a seller. And if you do take that transaction off eBay, you don't know that you might be dealing with a scammer, and you don't know the outcome of that. And if something bad happens where, let's say, you lose money, you have zero protection. And if eBay catches you, they certainly can charge you for the final value fees for that item, even if you didn't sell it on eBay. Buyers and sellers can't engage in any action with the user on the site designed to complete or facilitate a transaction outside of eBay. Share or request direct contact information prior to completing the sale. You can do it afterwards, but not before the sale has been made on eBay. In any communications with another eBay member, refer to or promote external websites that facilitate sales outside of eBay. So you can't put your own Shopify link in a message to a buyer. Use the contact information obtained through an eBay transaction to offer or buy or sell an item outside of eBay. List an item and then mention or link additional identical or related items for sale outside of eBay. Offer catalogs or other items that are used to order items directly outside of eBay. So it's clear, eBay doesn't want you to even sell item A and then say, hey, come talk to me later for items B, C, and D. They want you to work within their playbox. They don't want you to invite the buyer that you met in their sandbox over to your house to play. They want you to play in their sandbox. What happens if eBay catches you doing these things? Activity that doesn't follow eBay policy could result in a range of actions, including canceling your listings, hiding or demoting all listings from search results, blocking some or all of your messages communication with other members, lowering seller rating, buying or selling restrictions, account suspension, application of fees, and recovery of expenses for policy monitoring and enforcement. All fees paid or payable in relation to listings or accounts in which we take action will not be refunded or otherwise credited to your account. And eBay doesn't even have to show your listings during this time. So if they catch you doing something like this, there's nothing saying that they can't just basically make your listings go away in search and no one will find your items. So it's happened to other people. Just do yourself a favor. Do not communicate with buyers for any reason off of eBay, unless you're talking about that transaction that the buyer has already paid for, and maybe then you're following up to kind of figure out how to resolve whatever issues you're dealing with. But again, I don't recommend that. Keep it on eBay so that there's a record of it and it's not your word against theirs. eBay can look at all the messages and see what's going on. Now, the next thing I see, and this is a big thing, guys, for sellers, returns are a pain in the butt. We all agree on that, right? I just had 2 returns. I had 2 $550 juicers that I received in a pallet, okay? And they both worked just fine. I sold them for about $360 plus shipping within about a week of listing both of those. And guess what? Not one, but both items were returned. And these are heavy items. One was shipped to Florida. One, thankfully, was shipped to California for various reasons. One had a broken part, and I had even offered to buy a replacement part and have it shipped to the buyer. And they simply wanted to return the item. A few days later, they messaged me and said that they aren't even able to get the item to work. It made me wonder, well, why did you have to wait 2 days? The return came back. You know, of course, I paid $30-something for that return label. Return came back, and the item had like a broken glass. It's like the actual bowl the juice goes in. And, you know, these people weren't even courteous enough to put the shards of glass in like a baggie or something, or wrap it in the bubble wrap that I had that wrapped in. They threw packing peanuts in this thing, and they had the shards of glass all mixed in with the packing peanuts. And thankfully, I didn't cut the living crap out of myself, because it was just definitely a safety hazard. And I wasn't too happy about that. Now, I know for a fact that something went down, and I haven't processed the return just yet. You know, eBay gives us like 3 business days, but there was not any residue inside the juicer, but there's dried up stuff like inside the blades. I mean, the grinder mechanism. And so it leads me to believe, I don't know, they did something, and the thing's not even turning on now. So that I have to consider if I'm going to utilize the refund tool. I probably am, but also I do need to look into the shipping claim for the broken item, that the glass part of the item that did come up broken. I believe the buyer on that side, but to say that, you know, 2 days later it doesn't work, and now I didn't ship it to you with residue inside, but there's residue now when I get it back. But even then, this is the cost of doing business. If I did nothing more than just eat it, maybe part out this item, make as much money as I can on the unit, give the buyer their refund back, okay? I can't let that just change the way I think about eBay and doing my business. And I certainly would be sort of paralyzed to even sell larger ticket items if the only thought that came across my mind was, hopefully I don't get, shafted on this item from a dishonest buyer. It's sort of what we call, let's say, again, I'm using my poker analogy for those of you who are on the live stream. It's that monsters under your bed syndrome where you're afraid or almost paralyzed by the thought of a buyer doing something unscrupulous and dishonest. We need to, as sellers, understand that, it is part of the business, and a lot of you hate when I say that. There are some times in this business where you're going to be disappointed and you're going to have to take a loss. And if you're doing everything right in your business, those losses will not cripple you. I promise you that. Now, if these losses are crippling you to the point where you want to not give a full refund when that's not warranted, then that's a problem. And, if you're only dealing with 2 to 3, 4% returns, it's not going to happen that often. Bite the bullet and give a return on the refund. I know there's many of you out there who do not want to pay for the cost of that return label. So what some of us do is set our return policies as no returns. Now, I've said this many times on this channel. There is no such thing as no returns. If a buyer wants to return your item bad enough, they will select the proper, or in this case, improper reason to return your item. Could be damaged, could be item not as described, could be a couple other reasons. And guess what? You have no say in that at all. You have two choices. Do nothing. Let the buyer keep the item and eBay will eventually give them their money back. They'll get to have both. Or you pay for that return label and the buyer has until X date to return it back to you. You can hope that they don't return it. And if they do, you have to process a return. Now, here's the thing. For many of you, and the policy is this, if you are a top-rated seller offering 30-day returns, okay, you have to offer 30-day returns, whether that is buyer pays or you pay, okay, free returns. But as a top-rated seller, 30-day returns, you can utilize the refund tool that allows you the protection to deduct a return or refund up to 50% when there's a problem with that return. If you're not top-rated, you have to offer 30-day free returns. I think I've made a couple videos on this in the past already. Absent of that, you will not have access to the refund tool. And the refund tool is kind of handy because if you get something back that's in a different condition, missing pieces, not working when it was working, that kind of thing, you can give the buyer up to 50% refund. Now, that doesn't make you whole, but it is a remedy of some sort. It's better than eBay saying, sorry, it's the cost of doing business and just deal with it. They're giving us some method to alleviate that. Now, if you put something in your listing, the buyer didn't read it, they want something that you never included in the listing, and they want to return the item, and they're going to use any reason they can to get that free return label, you have to deal with that. And you can't utilize the refund tool to remedy the fact that you spent $20 or $30 or whatever it was on that return label. You have to eat that expense. And you should not use the refund tool to try to get back any costs associated with that return label, because you have to show eBay, and through the reasoning that you type in that return tool or that refund tool and the photos that they expect you to provide, you have to give an adequate reason why you're deducting what you're deducting. Now, according to eBay policy, if you're found that you're misusing the refund tool, you can, of course, that tool can be taken away from you. They can also go in and they can lower your seller rating, which means you're going to be lower in search than you were before. They can also suspend your account. So guys, be very diligent when you're utilizing that refund tool, please. I know it sucks. It stinks when you have to deal with a return that is just should have been avoided if the buyer would have done their part. But we all know that buyers generally don't do their part. And so please, please do not put yourself and your account in that position. It's just not worth it. Now, the last mistake that I think a lot of sellers make, it is the fact that they expect to get their money right away. And a lot of us seasoned sellers that have been around doing this for a while have been used to the PayPal system giving us our money right away. And that's our perception because it's available to us. We don't really go into what happens in the background. But if you actually knew what happens in the background, let's just say with the PayPal transaction, PayPal is not even getting the money right away from the bank or the credit card or whomever they're getting a payment from. There's a processing time, and it takes 1, 2, maybe 3 business days, depending on the credit card that is making the payment. So they fronted the money to us all those years. eBay is not willing to do that with managed payments. So now what happens is, for many sellers who are experienced, have established accounts, show frequent activity, like myself and other sellers that sell stuff all the time on eBay, it's really one of those things where as soon as the payment comes in, it's usually 1, 2 business days max, and that money's being sent to my account, regardless of if that item has even been shipped to the buyer. Now, that's not the same for many of you out there who have either newer accounts, sell infrequently, maybe have a pattern of selling $5 and $10 items, and all of a sudden you're selling a $200 or $300 item. eBay is going to sort of flag that, and they are going to put a hold on those funds from going into your available portion of managed payments for a payout until the buyer has received the item. And that's their policy. Now, I know many of you have placed comments in my videos saying, hey, why am I not getting paid? And I certainly am not going to ship this item out until I get paid. That is a huge mistake because that's going to hurt your seller rating. You're going to have a very high late shipping metric. And all that does what the other things did is it's going to hurt your ranking in search. It's going to hurt your eBay business. I know it stinks. You want your money. The thing to do is to sell frequently and over time, pay your dues on eBay as a seller. And over time, through consistent sales, you will be upgraded to that seller that gets their money, like I do, very quick, regardless of when the buyer gets their item. So bottom line on all of this is, again, this is eBay's game, okay? This is eBay's playground. And it's up to you if you want to play on this playground. eBay's posted, here's what you're allowed to do. And if you decide that you're not going to follow those rules, well, eBay's going to make it very hard for you to succeed. And the only thing you can do is one of two things: either follow the rules or find another place to sell. But I can promise you this: if you find another place to sell, you will not get the same kind of exposure to your items that eBay provides. And I'm not an eBay fanboy by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm just being real. The last thing you want to do as a seller is spend time thinking, agonizing, worrying about the negative 2 to 3% returns or any other negative thing that can happen with eBay. That is just a time suck. It's a mental drain. It's the negative part of eBay. Really, we talk about it a lot, all the different things between people that try to fraud you, between people that try to abuse the return policies, to people who do all kinds of sketchy stuff as buyers, but that's such a small percentage of your transactions. And sometimes it feels like a huge part of your day or of your business volume, but I promise you it's not very much at all. And if you allow it to consume your mental energy, it's just going to be harder to do this business. So please, guys, take my advice, roll with the punches, deal with these things as just a cost of doing business. And I know many of you hate that, and you're going to fire away with your comments down below that you don't like me utilizing that phrase. But if we're being honest, that's the truth. And, you know, we all go through it. There's some days we just shake our head and wonder why we're doing this, if it's even worth the hassle. But I promise you guys, if you're doing it right, you're making sales, it is very much worth it. So what do you think? Put your comments down below. And while you're at it, hit that like button, guys. Please, I appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel. And of course, hit that notification bell. So when I make another video or go live, you're notified. Or when I come up with a poll or maybe ask you guys a random question and ask for your feedback, you're notified right away as well. So guys, no matter if you're dealing with these people who want to communicate with you off eBay, you maybe have a buyer who doesn't read your listing and wants to return your item, and you've done nothing wrong, or maybe you're just not getting your money in a timely manner, just know that these are all examples of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have a great start to your week, and we will talk to you guys very soon.